Hello, welcome to the Neo Marketing Podcast. My name is Kyle Golding. This is Pritch, the Professor Pritchard, and I'm going to make a simple statement to you today, and then I'm going to explain this statement in detail on the podcast.
Okay.
An idea is not a product. A product is not a business. A business is not a brand.
There you go.
What does it mean? We'll tell you on the Neo Marketing Podcast.
Coming right up.
Welcome to the Golding Group Neo Marketing Podcast, a bi-weekly discussion of best practices, latest trends, and modern techniques for professional business communication, including advertising, marketing, digital channels, social media, public relations, and alternative options.
Hey there, Pritch. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm still vertical. How about you, Kyle?
Fantastic. Sitting upright, feeling good. We changed our studio around a little bit,
sweet.
Making some changes, updating for 2021. Some more changes will be coming soon.
It's evolutionary, not revolutionary.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
We're actionary, not reactionary. All right, so I made the statement earlier.
Yes,
I'm going to make that statement
I wanna
again,
hear.
and then I'm going to break down each element of the statement and try to help everyone along, all you budding entrepreneurs and people who maybe think they've got a great idea, they want to go into business, they want to start their own business, they want to do things. You have to do things in a certain way. You have to understand every element, and I'm going to help you understand that today. So again, an idea is not a product. A product is not a business. A business is not a brand.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Product and service are interchangeable here.
Okay.
Your business could produce a product, produce widgets, or it can provide services. Same thing. I get too cumbersome to say product or service every single time. So when I'm saying product, I mean product or service. When I say company or business or company are the same thing too. So if I interchange those in the conversation today, that's fine. But everything starts with an idea, right?
Right. Should.
So I have an idea, whether it's a better mousetrap or I want to do something different with my life. Maybe the idea is something internal. Maybe it's external. Maybe it's seeing something you think you can do better, etc.
Right.
And a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, put a lot of emphasis on the big idea.
Right.
And so what happens if you think you have to have a perfect idea?
You're going to be working on it forever because it will
Nothing
never
happens.
be.
That's right. Nothing happens
Right.
if you need the most revolutionary idea ever to start your business, because those don't happen.
Right.
They really don't happen. But the flip side is you can't just start another, also ran that is the same thing that's out there on every corner. And, like a great example of that in Oklahoma right now would be, hey, I'm going to start a dispensary. Well, what a grand idea. Everyone and their dog, there's one in every corner, folks. Two on some corners.
Literally.
Every corner, right? So let's start a dispensary is not a brilliant idea.
The little town of Blanchard, America, with 8,000 people has 3 dispensaries.
You go. So you can't be completely unoriginal, but you don't have to be 1,000% revolutionary in the idea. So I'm going to tell you that the idea element is a 5 out of 10. I give it a 50% value.
Okay.
You need some ideas. You need some good thoughts. We're going to talk about differentiation later, so we'll talk about how to make things different and special.
Right.
But don't get hung up on a perfect idea to get started, but have a good enough idea to get going.
Perfection is the mortal enemy
That's
of
right.
good enough.
So we need new businesses and new ideas. That's how innovation happens. That's how change happens. And so
that's what drives the economy.
That's right. That word change, though, is important here. You can't be so in love with your idea, because your idea is going to change. It's going to morph. It's going to adapt.
If you're paying attention.
That's right. If it's going to work.
Right.
The thing that's in your head today is not going to be the thing that gets put on paper. That's not going to be the thing that gets put in the world. That when you're actually executing your business, there's going to be so many changes in this process that we're about to explain, from idea to product to brand. Everything changes on a regular basis. You cannot be 100% in love with your idea, which is why you don't need the perfect idea, because it's going to change based on the audience, the market, and everything else that comes with actually running a successful business.
Right.
So have a good idea, better than ordinary, but understand it will change. Do not fall in love with the idea. Do not let that kill your process. Instead, take the ride.
Right.
Go on that process. Start with a good enough idea.
Right.
Understand it has to continually improve. Even businesses have been around 100 years. Every day, start the next day with trying to improve every day.
Right.
So put that idea out there and start immediately starting to improve upon it. That's how it goes from an idea to a potential product or service.
Right.
So we're still in the idea phase. It's still the potential. At the end of the day, how an idea can become something that's tangible is, does it solve a problem?
Right.
Does it fix something? Does it make things better? Does it make something that already exists better? Or is it something that doesn't exist now that will make people's lives better?
Does it add usefulness to an existing product?
Now, it can be a luxury item that's a want. Not necessarily something people need, but they daggum might want it. That's a whole different ball game, and it's a whole different startup if you're going into the luxury brand of things. So make sure that you solve a problem, but make sure you solve a problem that actually exists.
Right. Let's not be a solution and look of a problem.
Exactly. So just because you stubbed your toe one time doesn't mean you need to create armor for toes or furniture that's configured differently so no one ever stubs their toe ever again, because there's no great demand in the universe for such thing as I just made up off the top of my head. I hope there's not a demand for that. So there has to be something. There has to be something that is in demand, something that is realistic, and something that is functional, useful, and can be quantized and contexted into a product or service.
Right.
So your idea doesn't matter if it can't become a real thing, and then if that thing can't be sold and utilized, and then the business can't be a real business unless that process can be repeatable.
Right.
So don't solve problems that don't exist. Don't try to just invent a problem so that you can invent the answer.
Solution.
And then don't think also that no one's asking for this, but I'll convince them they need it. That's a bad idea too.
Yeah.
Recipe for disaster.
Absolutely.
Again, occasionally you can get into some luxury items like that, but you can have a $500 sweatshirt that looks like crap if your name is Kanye West. But we're not Kanye, so we ain't selling luxury sweatshirts or luxury shoes, etc. that people don't even know they wanted it but now they do because Kanye's wearing it. Well, we're not Kanye.
Right. Very narrow audience.
That's
there
right. So
anyway.
we're going to move on from that. Okay. So now we have our idea. We understand it's going to change, but it has to become a tangible thing. It has to become a product or a service, right?
Right.
So where do you start here? How does an idea become a product? It's a trick question.
It is a trick question.
It is a trick question. Most of you are thinking, go make the thing.
Right.
Make the product.
Right.
Start prototyping.
Right.
Start writing things down.
Right.
No. Go back to what I just said about solve a problem that people really have.
People really have.
Solve a real problem.
Right.
Well, how do you know what their problem is? How do you know how you're going to solve it? How do you know how the thing you're going to make is going to play that role?
Well, I think it's research with a big R.
Ask them.
Ask them. Exactly.
Ask.
By the way, research in that first step of idea, too. Because
it's the bridge here.
It's the
Research
bridge.
is the bridge.
Yeah.
There's also, of course, right, I have an idea. Your first thing should be, does it already exist?
Does it already exist, right?
Right. I'm gonna invent something that records your voice. Oh, okay, we have those. I'm gonna invent a service where you dial up a car and someone comes and gets you at your house. Yeah,
Right.
that exists.
Are there patents or are there copyrights that could infringe upon your good ideas?
How hard is it going to be to come into a crowded market, or can you come into a less crowded market, or can you create a new space for yourself?
Yep.
So that is the first part of research. If you've got past that, now you have to research, what do people want? What problems do they have? What pain do they have? And how can I solve it? Can my idea be applied to that? And then from there, you go from everybody. Remember, everybody's not your audience.
Right.
We talk about that on this podcast all the time, but you got to go from everybody to starting to pare down to who that target market is. It doesn't matter what you think.
Right.
Let me say that one more time, folks. It doesn't matter what you think. It only matters what the audience wants, needs, and is willing to pay for. So stop putting your opinion and your idea that you have the best idea in the world in front of the audience input.
And don't be a research denier.
Do your research. Let that take you down the path that's necessary for you to have a successful product or service that can create a successful business so that you can make profit, so that you can make money, so you can quit that job you hate and do something better with your life, as opposed to, but my idea is great, I like it, so everyone else will.
Right.
And I'm going to be stubborn about this. That's a recipe for failure, folks.
Absolutely.
So we said earlier, don't get hung up on a perfect idea. That was the first mistake you can make.
Right.
The second mistake is do not let your own opinion of what people will value drive this process. Let the audience drive your process.
Bam.
Now, once you've done that, once you have an audience targeted that you can sell to, that you can create a conversion process, now, depending on how they want it delivered, how often they want to buy it, all of those factors, again, audience driven.
Right.
Now you can build a system, build a strategy, do all the things that allow you to become profitable.
Right.
Sell that product or service at a profit. Do not let people tell you that profit is bad. Profit is the only reason you're in business.
It's the economy of it's the engine of our economy.
That's right. Profit makes businesses viable. Without profit, businesses will fail the first hiccup you have, and you will have many hiccups in a business.
Right.
Not you, it's everyone. It just happens. So become viable, become profitable. If you can become predictable and bankable, that's when you have a really effective and efficient business.
Yeah.
But we said earlier, too, your idea is going to change. It's going to go change. You're going to have to start it, watch the audience reaction, change, adapt with your audience, do more of what they want, less of what they don't want.
Right.
Doesn't matter what you like.
Right.
It matters what the audience reacts to. You get their attention, create a relationship, you get to conversion, you sell, you deliver the product or service at value, you provide, you create an expectation, you meet that expectation, you provide value, then it's a repeatable business. Now all of that structure, all of that strategy, all of that documentation, all of that process is a business.
Right.
You've gone from a product or service to a legit business that is profitable, must be profitable.
Ma'am, there you go.
As you start to explain to people what your product or service is, your better mousetrap, your idea, whether it's to attend to figure out who your audience is, whether it's to get partners, to people to come work with you or for you, to maybe help you on the financial side or other professional services, whatever these things are, don't describe that product or service as the Uber of,
Right.
the Facebook of,
Right.
the Twitter of.
And I don't know why you'd want to be any of those things.
But it happens a lot. A lot of VCs I talk to are like, if one more person pitches me on, it's
is
just
the
like
Uber.
Uber, except it's this. It's just like Tesla,
Gosh.
but not.
Right.
Like, especially like it's the Twitter of whatever. Well, so it's going to lose money because
Right.
Twitter's never made
It
profit.
never profited.
Yeah, like
profitable.
don't do that. And even Facebook isn't the Facebook of Facebooks,
Right.
or Facebook of social media, because Zuckerberg stole those ideas. Take that, Zuckerberg.
Right.
So stop
Wait
describing
till
yourself
Congress
as
gets done with him.
he's. No,
Okay.
we're not going out.
Okay,
Don't
sorry.
be the thing you've heard of the segment you're in. Do take a lot of time and put a lot of effort into explaining what is different about your product or service than anything else on the market.
Yep.
Differentiation, one of my favorite words,
Yep.
because it's one of my favorite concepts. The thing that makes a business work is differentiation.
Yes.
Setting yourself apart from the crowd. If you can't, and this goes back to, is it a good idea or not? If you can't set yourself apart, if you can't explain what is different about your widget or about your service, then you shouldn't do it. If it has no value in doing things any differently than just because it's me doing it and I want to do it,
Right.
and no one cares about that, it goes like to give the audience what they want. They don't care about you.
Right.
They care about the product or service, how that helps their life, benefits their life, makes their life better, reduces pain in their life, anything of that nature. It's all about the audience. But it's only if you can explain to the audience why your option is a different option, not better.
Right.
Don't talk about better. It's easy to say better, and everyone says better. So if
Right.
everyone's better, then what are you better than?
Right.
And how do you quantify better?
Well, and who says you're better? Your customer
And then you might create an expectation you can't meet. So all of those things are negative outcomes from describing yourself as better. It's just ineffective. It's just like saying, hey, folks, I'm cool. Are you? I don't know. What does that mean? And what do I care?
Right.
Why do I care?
Just because you say it
you're
doesn't
not
make it
listening to the podcast because I think I'm cool.
Right.
You're listening to the podcast because there's viable information, and we have a delivery style, and we have topics that we approach that are different than other podcasts, similar, but have some differentiations, definitely different in the way we deliver,
Right.
Even different from each other.
Right.
These are all differentiations. Differentiation is the key. If you've got a product now, you have a business, you've got an audience, you're in the transaction process, you're in the marketing process. The key is differentiation, setting yourself apart, not making the best, but making something different. If it's different in a way someone thinks is better than their other options,
Right.
they're going to think you're better or the best,
Right.
and then they're going to more than likely buy your product or service. That's what you want to get. You don't have to convince them you're the best. You have to convince them that you're doing something different, and the way that you're describing it is the way they would like it to be. So
You're solving a problem.
Audience-driven.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely audience-driven. So if you can set yourself apart, if you can explain that differentiation, if you can use that explanation to get someone to pay you for your product or service, you now have an opportunity for transactions. If you have built in that profitability that we discussed earlier, you have a transaction process, you have profitability, so you can survive low times, reinvest, grow your company, develop. Another thing too, once you have a company, it must always grow. You must move in one direction, and that one direction is up and out.
Right.
Contracting is bad for business.
Right.
Going backwards is bad for business. Backsliding, all of that is negative, and it can get out of control really quickly, and you backslide all the way to zero.
Right.
Zero is bankrupt, and you're gone.
Bam.
If you're growing, even if you're minimally growing, if you're growing by a 0.0001% per quarter, it's better than going backwards.
Right.
So you always have to be growing, always have to be developing, always have to be changing and adapting these things and continuing to understand your audience deeper and deeper and deeper, provide what they want at value and at profitability. If you can do all those things, your business will grow. You have structure. You now have a company. You still don't have a brand.
Right.
So a brand is the concept of the company. It's the concept of that differentiation, who your audience is, how you connect with them, and how you simply but effectively and efficiently explain the company to the potential audience, not talking about the product or service itself. That's what a brand is.
Mm-hmm.
A brand is bigger. By simply having a product, having a business structure around it, the ability to sell it, the ability to take the transaction and take money, make money, even be profitable, still doesn't create a brand.
Right.
A brand is a further step. It's a representation, and it's something that you need to hold at that level of respect in this process.
Right. As one of the great branders of all times, and I can't Stan Richards.
Oh, I thought you were going to say me.
Yeah, well, yeah, we haven't had this conversation though. He used to say that a brand is a promise.
Yes. It's a representation, and it's not the reason it's not just the product. Thewidgetcompany.com, we're not just the widget brand because we make widgets. You already know we make widgets. It's the representation of how we understand who our audience is, who we are as the human beings involved in the process, how we came about the idea, the differentiation, our different approach. All of those things need to be summed up in the brand as simply as possible and as representative as possible so that people can quickly understand who they're doing business with. Because people do business with other people. They don't do business with your business.
Right.
They don't care about your brick and mortar or your website or however they're doing business with you. They're not like, this is the best website ever. I'm always going to come here. They want to know about the people. They want to know if you know your why.
Right.
Knowing your why is the most important aspect of everything we've just discussed. Why did you have the original idea? Was your intent to get filthy rich? Because that's a bad intent. It's going to drive you down the wrong path.
Right, exactly.
You're going to take shortcuts and you're not going to do it correctly. Or was your intent to solve a problem, ease someone's pain, provide value to people in their life? Have you built the product? Have you built the company? Have you built your structure? Providing value, being in relationships with your consumer, not simply trying to trick them, force something down their throat, sell them something they don't need, take as much money off of them as possible. If you're looking at things in the right way, if your why is correct, if you're trying to do things in the right way, you're trying to run your business as ethically and as humanely as possible, the human beings that are your audience, because even if you sell pet care, human beings buy it.
Right.
The pets buy it, or the pets eat it, but the human being has to put their money down for it. Dogs don't have credit cards, right?
Right.
Human beings need to be able to relate to your brand,
Right.
even if they think your product or service is cool. Even if they I'm like, man, this thing here is really cool. But there's more than likely 10 options to get that thing or to get a service. And so how do I choose? Even if there's some differentiation there, there's still a lot of all of these 10 things that are slightly different still are in the wheelhouse of something I would purchase. Well, now it comes down to the people. And the people are represented by the brand. So if you understand your why, you understand the thought process, you understand your audience, you understand your product or service, the problem it solves, the differentiation. If you understand all this aspects of everything we just walked through, you understand your why, you can represent that in your brand, the opportunity to create repeatable, dependable, predictable, profitable business goes way, way, way up.
Yep.
You have the potential for much more success and extended success, continual, multi-generational even. If you build things in this way, you approach it in the right way, and it all goes back to that first nugget we started with. You had an idea, but why did you want to pursue that idea?
Right.
It starts where it ends.
What problem are you solving?
Always starts and ends with what is your why. Of course, you all know that Simon Sinek is the one who's framed that up.
Right.
But I believe in the concept wholeheartedly. That's why I reference it a lot, and that's why it's important here. So we start and we end with our why. But anyone who has an idea, you have the potential to create a product, a brand, a business, and a brand.
Right.
You also have the potential to stop as an idea, to stop as just a product, to stop at just a business, or to go all the way through the process, create a brand. And that if you can create a brand with a business structure and viable products or services that people want, can deliver on a regular basis, the ability to be successful is right in front of you.
There you go.
There it is, folks. Nice and easy.
3 steps.
Nice and easy. So again, like I said, an idea is not a brand. An idea is not a product. Product is not a business. A business is not a brand. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have great ideas.
Right.
It doesn't mean you should try to make the product or service from that idea. It doesn't mean you should stop at just putting a brick and mortar system around something. It doesn't mean that if you don't have a brand, you can't start. It's a cycle. It's a circle, but start with your why.
Bam. There you go. I love it.
There we go, folks. Hopefully you guys like that too. Let us know. Give us some feedback. Make some comments. Hit the thumbs up, the heart button. Make sure you subscribe for sure. If you want to leave us a review, we would totally appreciate that as well.
Totally appreciate that.
So that other people could find the podcast in the future. And we will see you next time on the Neo Marketing Podcast. Good luck.
Ciao.
This has been the Golden Group Neo Marketing Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Tell a friend, leave a review, and engage with us on social media. Thanks for listening.